The economic consequences to the U.S. economy of Trump's potential tariff lawsuit loss can be significant. On August 29, 2025, a federal appeals court ruled that President Trump unlawfully used the International Emergency Economic Powers Act (IEEPA) to impose sweeping tariffs on multiple countries. The ruling affects tariffs as high as 50% on India and Brazil and 145% on China. Trump has appealed to the Supreme Court, with tariffs remaining in place until October 14, 2025. The numbers are staggering. American businesses have already paid over $210 billion in tariffs deemed illegal by courts as of August 24, 2025. The U.S. has generated $142 billion in tariff revenue just this fiscal year, with the federal government collecting approximately $30 billion monthly from trade duties. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent estimates the government would need to refund about half of all tariffs collected since Trump took office if the Supreme Court upholds the lower court ruling, potentially tens of billions of dollars. First, the economic consequences on government finances. The tariff revenue has become crucial to the government's fiscal position. As TD Cowen's Washington strategy team noted, this revenue is key to supporting the government's credit rating given fiscal pressures from Trump's tax legislation. Refunding these tariffs would force the Treasury to issue substantially more debt to cover the shortfall. The impact on the bond market is not any less significant either. The 30-year Treasury bond yield briefly hit its highest level since July as investors demanded higher compensation to hold U.S. debt amid refund uncertainty. Increased Treasury bond issuance to fund refunds could push yields and borrowing costs across the economy higher. Additionally, economists warn that massive tariff refunds combined with potential Federal Reserve rate cuts could reignite inflation, reminiscent of the Biden administration's fiscal challenges. Gary Huffbauer from the Peterson Institute noted this could refresh investor memories about the Biden years. Second, the impact on business and trade. First effect would probably be supply chain uncertainty. The ruling covers tariffs on more than 90 countries, affecting virtually all products under the U.S. Customs harmonized tariff system over 11,000 product categories. About 71% of Trump's tariff revenue would be subject to potential refunds. No to mention the refund process complexity. Companies have 314 days from when freight is processed to file tariff appeals. With front-loading that occurred earlier in 2025, many businesses face a December deadline for appeals. The refund process could either be automatic through customs or require individual company requests. The latter would double overnight the workload for customs teams. Finally, the trade deal implications. Trump warned that losing the case could force the U.S. to unwind trade deals with the European Union, Japan, and South Korea. However, trade experts note these are largely framework agreements rather than formal treaties, making unwinding less certain. On the other hand, the industry response. Despite the legal uncertainty, logistics professionals report minimal immediate changes in shipping behavior. Companies are maintaining cautious forward-ordering strategies, with most waiting for the Supreme Court's final decision before making sourcing adjustments. Investment firms are reportedly approaching businesses to buy stakes in potential tariff refunds, highlighting the financial uncertainty many companies face while awaiting resolution. Bottom line, if Trump loses his Supreme Court appeal, the U.S. faces a potential fiscal crisis requiring massive debt issuance to fund tariff refunds, possible inflation resurgence, higher borrowing costs economy-wide, and continued trade uncertainty. The case represents a critical test of presidential trade authority, with billions in economic consequences hanging in the balance. The Supreme Court is expected to hear the case during its upcoming term beginning in October, with tariffs likely remaining in effect during the appeal process.